Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel, A Little Ray of Sunshine. If you're new here, welcome. I really appreciate you watching this video. This video is probably one of the most meaningful videos that I'll put on my channel. And it's because this is a testimony that is near and dear to my heart. It is my journey with God. It's something that if I'm asked, I'm happy to share. And it was life-changing for me. And when I was going through it, I didn't realize it until after. So this is to tell you that my journey with God has not been easy. It is something that I've had to work through. It is something that has had many obstacles, but have always taken me to a destination in which I needed to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into my religious background, my spiritual background, and just share my journey with you. So I did not grow up in a church. I did have church experiences, but they were very limited. So occasionally I would go to church with my grandmother. I went to Bible study and vacation Bible study with a family friend who used to watch me after school. And that was cool. And I remember asking my dad, because all the kids in my class were getting baptized, if I could, and he had told me no. And at first I was hurt, but now I really appreciate him saying no. And here's the reason. I did not grow up with a home church. I didn't really understand religion until I started to study it in high school. And I understood that people went to church, but I also understood that it was a choice. And in my family, we just made the choice not to. We had a lot of stuff going on in our lives. My parents grew up going to churches and stuff, so they didn't want to force that on us. And they wanted religion or spirituality or whatever we chose to be our choice. And I respect that. I really do. I appreciate that. So I did not grow up in a church. I didn't start actively seeking God until I was an adult, until I was 18. But I did have some foreshadowing, or the preface of my journey with God did happen as I was about to graduate high school. So throughout my experience in high school, me and my parents, we were going through growing pains. It got really rocky. It got really rough. And I started to feel like when people would say, oh, just pray about it, it'll work out. Don't worry, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. Things were just so tense that I just didn't believe it. So I didn't believe in God because I was a good kid. You know, I did some typical teenage stuff, but not like my friends. Like, my parents were strict. And so having strict parents and having us go through these growing pains, I didn't believe in God, because I was like, you out here doing this and you have all this freedom and your life is so grand, and I'm out here not doing nothing, and this is what's happening to me. So, and that's not to throw shade at my parents. Again, teenage years, growing pains, we just didn't see eye to eye, and it just made my life very difficult. I had a friend, and he had social media that only had scriptures. And at that time, that was weird. Everybody was posting selfies or talking trash or joking or doing whatever they were doing on social media, such as Twitter and Facebook. That was popping back then. And then Instagram just emerged. And so that was weird to me. Why are you only posting Bible scriptures? Like, dude. And he would say, this is like, my social media is a reflection of me, and this is me. I am, you know, I believe in God, and I want people to know that I believe in God. And so I was like, okay, well, other people believe in God and they don't do that. You're kind of whack, but woe is me. And so I would make fun of him for it. But he was one of the first friends to kind of introduce me to scripture. So he would send me scriptures that were applicable to my life without it flat out saying Jesus said to do this or God said to do this. Because at the time I wasn't going to hear that. Okay, Jesus said to do this, cool. But when it starts to say, like, you know, be patient, be kind, stuff like that, that really pricked my heart, especially because he would send them right when I needed them. That was God working through him. But at the time, I didn't know. Another thing is that at the time, I had a boyfriend. who invited me to his church's youth rally. And I asked my parents, because I'm like, it's church. They don't let me go anywhere else. Maybe they'll let me go to church. I was wrong. I did not go to the youth rally. But it seemed like from my junior year onward until I graduated, I was always invited to the same youth rally. And it was different people inviting me. And I just didn't understand. I was like, okay, this church is youth rally that I'm invited to is now one that I am creating. So remember that. Okay. Also, I had a friend once I left my parents' house, and I was staying with her for a little bit, and she would talk to me about God, because at this point in my life, I am 17, about to turn 18. I was having a lot of life hurdles and obstacles occur, and I just was very, very low. And I had never been in this position in my entire life, and I was just trying to work it out. And she would talk to me and she would say, hey, have you like kind of prayed about it, talked to God about it, journaled about it, stuff like that. And we would have serious conversations about it, but I went to church with her, and the service did prick my heart, but I knew that wasn't the church I wanted to go to. And I appreciate her talking to me, because that again was the preface of my journey with God. Just these different situations where he placed people in my life to say, hey, he's worked in mine, he can work in yours, was truly a blessing, but I didn't realize it until later in life, right? So we're fast forwarding. Again, I'm in one of the lower places in my life. I'm trying to figure things out, and I get into my best friend's car at the time, who is now my husband, and I asked, because again, here comes another weirdo. It's our freshman year of college. I'm not in college yet, but he is, and every Wednesday and Sunday he was going to a local church near our campus, and he would say, oh, I gotta go, I'm gonna be late. And I'd be like, dude, you don't have to go anymore, your parents aren't forcing you, you don't have to go, you're in college. Like, and he would say, no, I gotta go. And he would go, and he would come back, and I'd be like, dude, why do you keep doing this? Why do you have a Bible in your car? Why do you feel like you need to study and stuff right now? You've already done it, your parents aren't making you do it anymore. And he would say, and I was like, how do you know this is even real? Like, you're missing out on the best years of your life, and you don't even know if this is real. And he would say, I'd rather live as if it was real than to die and find out that it was real. And so I was like, okay. And I was like, but what if you die and it's not real and you're just worm food? And he would say, well, what does it hurt? It's teaching me to be a good person. It's teaching me good morals. Why is it really hurting me? And I was like, touche, buddy, touche. So Raelle, how did you find Jesus? What started your journey? All these events started my journey. My boyfriend at the time and my best friend, who is now my husband, went to go talk to their church's youth minister, and basically said, hey, we have this friend who is going through this and this. We really think you can help her because you've helped us through stuff. Can you please help her? And they said, okay, bring her by the house. So bro and sis, that's what I call them. But they are or were the youth ministers / assistant minister at our church. And so they have 4 lovely girls who now I call my sisters, and at the time they were really young. All of them were 4 and under, 5 and under, so the youngest being like 9 months. So imagine a girl is asking for your help, asking for somewhere to sleep, and she barely has any clothes, barely has anything, and she's coming with a lot of stuff that she needs to get done. And they said, you know what, we're gonna take this chance, but there are some ground rules. And one of the ground rules was for me to do Bible studies with them and go to church, because it would not be productive for them to have someone who wasn't actively trying to seek God, considering that's what they do. And so I said, okay, cool, whatever. I can go. I'm not objective to it. I have friends at the church anyway, so let's go. So they started doing Bible studies with me, and I would ask them like the most off-the-wall questions, because for me, I need to, like, I understand everything in its simplest form. Like, you can teach me and I'm a quick learner, but there's some ideas and there's some abstract thoughts that I need answered, and if you can't answer them, then I don't believe you. But I just wanted to know these questions. I wanted to know why people were so critical, because to me, growing up, if you are a Christian or religious or any, like, really strict in your religion, you're hypocritical, because there's a lot of people out there, and this does give us a bad name. There's a lot of people out there that will tell you not to do something, and then they're doing it. And they'll like crucify you for doing it, and or you'll make a mistake and they'll crucify you, but they made the same mistake. So I wanted to get all these questions out, and I wanted to understand, and they did a really good job of teaching me. So I started going to church. We went every Wednesday, every Sunday, twice, and I just felt like I was growing. I grew in a couple of months. So I started going to church probably end of December. Yeah, it was like end of December. And then I got baptized that March. And my stipulations for getting baptized were I needed to make sure that I had forgiven all those who had wronged me. That was one of the biggest things. And I wasn't in that right of mind to actually truly forgive them. And I feel like I needed to forgive myself for a lot of things that I had done up until that point. And so I ended up going to a women's conference the weekend of my 18th birthday. My birthday was that Friday. The conference was that Saturday. I got baptized that Sunday. So I go to this conference, and I'm going again with my church family, my church group, and they break you up into married, single, teenagers, kids. So they put me in the singles group, and all the people I came with were married or kids. And so I was alone. I didn't know anybody there, and they started talking about topics, and at first I'm just observing, and then people were saying stuff that I didn't agree with or that like needed expansion. So I started speaking. I started sharing my testimony. I started just sharing stories and my perspective. And by the end of it, I felt so motivated. Like, everyone was like, yes, that's good. I love it. And so we like end up all going to the same place to eat for lunch, and then it was over. And so I'm talking to the people I came with, and I'm telling them like how our session went and stuff. And I start getting notes. I probably got like 4 or 5 notes from different sisters encouraging me to continue my journey, because I touched their life and they wanted to share this with their daughter, or they were my age and they just wanted to keep in contact. And so I just really felt moved that I needed to get baptized right then and there, because why else was I waiting? I had already done my studies. I had already understood. I already felt like I wanted to, but that was the extra push that I needed. And I feel like God put me in that situation because I didn't even want to go. That was my birthday weekend. And at the time, it was a big one. I was turning 18. But he put me in that situation to feel encouraged, to feel supported, and feel as though I was influencing other people in their walk. That just helped me clear my conscience, because I wanted to go under knowing that I really was going to make a change. I got baptized March 3rd, 2013. And that was one of the best days of my life. And I can still remember it to this day. And I was super excited. But I didn't really take my journey with God seriously at this point either. And I say this, that I was changing some of my habits. I started to like realize like, hey, I don't really need to be dressing this way or acting this way. Like, I am a reflection of my church and of God, and I need to kind of act like it. But I wasn't taking it seriously enough, because I was in college and I was letting college stuff. I was participating in college stuff, and I don't mean like, you know, crazy stuff, but I just didn't feel as though I was truly ready to be a devout Christian. And I just had this idea in my head of what that was, and I just wasn't ready. And so it took me being in a valley. I had to look up and I had to really self-evaluate what I was doing. So at the time, I was in unhealthy relationship. We had love for each other, but we weren't in love, and we were just trying to make it work, and a lot of stuff was happening that was just not acceptable. But one of the major things is that we moved in together, and we didn't move in together because we were like planning on being married. We moved in together out of convenience because we both could pay rent, we both could contribute, and I just was not ready to do it on my own, but I basically was doing it on my own. And so other things happened in that relationship, but God was telling me I was not supposed to be in that. He was telling him that we were not supposed to be together, and we just kept forcing it, and all these bad things kept happening to us. And so I finally ended it. We didn't live together but 2 weeks. So he moved out, we ended it. That was that. I also was having trouble at my job. I was just not happy where I was. There was a lot of stuff going on. So I ended up getting a new job, which hindsight 2020 wasn't better, but it was better at the time. And it was paying more. So I had that job, which was God opening a door for me to get me out of a situation that I was in. And then I also was struggling with school because I had all this life stuff going on around me that I wasn't really like making it a priority. Schools always came naturally for me. I've always been the type of person who didn't have to study and go to school and pass my tests. But when you're in college, especially when you're taking the higher classes and you're in your major classes, it gets harder. And I was having some struggles with that, so I had to do a reevaluation. Some of my relationships were strained that shouldn't have been strained, and so I had to do a real evaluation, and I did. I really talked to myself about that, and I was like, I'm gonna commit to this. And so I rekindled and apologized for those strained relationships that I had. And then those strained relationships that rekindled, they were stronger now. I built new relationships with people that had the same values as me. So I'm super close with my sisters, some of my sisters and brothers at church. We go on vacations together, we do game nights together, we go out to eat together, we do a lot of stuff together. They're some of my closest friends, and they're my parents' age. At first it was weird to me, but now it's like we're all adults, we all have kids, we're all married, we in the same boat. What else? Financially, I was strained before, and now I'm not. Like, I mean, we have financial stuff that we have to deal with, obstacles that we have to deal with now, but back then I was always worried about money, and now no. And it's because I had to really reflect. I really had to dig deep and do some soul searching, and from that, ever since then, I've been taking my relationship with God seriously. I'm in one of the best relationships besides God that I've ever been with, and that's my husband. We started off as best friends, and then it just evolved, and of course we've had obstacles and things of that nature, but I thank God every day for my husband. It's just a blessing because I never thought I was gonna get married. I never thought that I was gonna settle down with anyone seriously, and then bam, I'm happily married, and I'm so happy. And then it brought me my beautiful baby girl. I always wanted kids, but I just didn't know I was gonna be married, and I just didn't know if it was gonna happen. But he brought me my beautiful baby girl. Again, like I said, I have really tight-knit relationships which I cherish and value. I even have a really close friend. She wants me to say best friend, in which we're lifelong partners, and we both go to the same church, and we both believe in the same things, and it's so beautiful. My other friendships are just really strong. I have a roof over my head and stomach full of food because I'm fat now. I have clothes and shoes at the wazoo. Like, I'm just in such a better position than I was prior to me taking this relationship seriously. Just we're blessed. Even if we are worried about something, we know that it'll be taken care of some way or another. There will be an opportunity, and so we're blessed. And I share this not to brag or to say, you know, it's gonna instantly change as soon as you go under the water. But I say this to say that journeys are not races. So races, you're trying to get to a destination as quickly as possible. But as my dad always says, life is a journey, not a race. And so my relationship with God is a journey. And so it's full of obstacles. It's full of, you know, scenic routes. And then the more risky routes, it's full of, you have to climb some hurdles, and then you have to slide down some and fall on your butt. But at the end of the day, it's a journey worth taking, because you're growing, you're being taken care of by someone who's never gonna leave you, who is supportive and comforting and is gonna guide you, and you just have to be willing to accept. And it sounds crazy, but I know when God is working. I feel it. And then hindsight 2020, when I don't understand it, I understand it. And it's just something that I would recommend to anyone. It's funny enough, one of my friends, she says, yeah, I explain to you my other friends as my Christian friend, my church going friend, my spiritual friend. And I said, wow. And at first I was like, oh, there's more to me. But I had to realize that that's a good thing to be recognized about. I say this all to say is that I'm going to be starting a new series on my channel. It's the first of many videos in which I'm just going to be sharing my journey. This is just how my journey started and how it has affected my life. But I want to get into some nitty-gritty conversations about different things, not just motherhood and children and marriage and things of that nature, just different topics, because they need to be talked about. If you have any questions, or if you have a topic that you would like to recommend, please leave it in the comments below. If you like seeing my face, please subscribe, and if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I can't wait to see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.